Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk podcast. And what news got dropped us on today? New ownership of the Gary South Shore RailCats. I mean, I'm shocked. I think majority of the people are necessarily shocked, but not shocked at the same time. If you're a Gary South Shore Railcat fan, I think maybe you were kind of looking forward to new ownership for the Gary South Shore Railcats, as most diehard fans really, when Greg Taggart's jersey was retired, that was the last time or first time in a long time that the Salvi family was even in the ballpark. Um, so Patrick and Linda said, "Adios, Gary South Shore. Thank you for the 15 years." But here comes Joseph Eng. He comes in, buys the team. That's what we got. We got a new owner. Now this could mean many of things. Uh, there's a lot that can go into this situation. It could be good, it could be negative, positive, failure. But the big thing of my concern as a Gary South Shore Railcats fan, and now really getting into this the second full year, I would say probably the first official full year of me covering the Gary South Shore Railcats. The biggest concern that I have is ripping the RailCats out of Gary and putting it somewhere else. Now, the Gary South Shore RailCats have been a staple of Gary since 2002, if I'm correct. And it's brought a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, especially during the glory days in the Northern League and in 2013 with the American Association. It brought a lot of glory to Gary South Shore Railcats. And I mean, if you're from the region, you're from the area, you know about the Gary South Shore Railcats. And as much as Gary gets its name for being Gary, it's still a fun time to go to, and I love going to every game that I possibly can. But with that being said, new ownership comes in, right? And when I look here on Facebook, because right before I got on, I was working when this broke, and I came home. And my wife worked from home because she had to do some stuff with my mother for my sister's wedding, stuff like that. So I had to delay a little bit of doing this podcast. But I asked on Facebook while I was sitting there waiting outside, watching my sprinkler go back and forth because I'm obsessed with my yard. Just kind of what fans were kind of expecting or maybe want with this. Andrew English, he said, basically an owner that will be present, that will want to bring another championship to Gary, Northwest Indiana. It's always bothered me that now the previous owner couldn't be bothered to be at the RailCats games, and hopefully this new owner is the exact opposite. Paulie, if it's another absent owner, nothing fundamentally would change, but if Joe wants to win a championship for his ego, this could be a good thing. Now, looking at Joseph Eng, when I was going through and just trying to find him, I don't have any other record of him owning another team. I'm pretty sure the Salvi family owns the Schaumburg Boomers. I could be wrong. I think they own a team there in the Pioneer League. If I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me. I thought that's where they were at. So you have the split between the two. I think maybe that stadium is the baby, the baby of that family, and that's what they want. But that's beside the point where I'm getting at here. Just a couple of quotes from the Salvi family. Patrick said it was a difficult decision filled with mixed emotions to sell the RailCats. He also wanted to say, it has been a tremendous honor to be an anchor of downtown Gary in Northwest Indiana over the last 15 years as the owner of the RailCats. I am very grateful for the support and relationship that I have built with our great fans, partners, and players, which I will cherish forever. But now it is the right time for me and my family for new ownership and energy to lead the RailCats, and I'm excited to watch Joe implement his his vision to enhance the RailCats brand and community impact in the years to come. Now, what I get from the reaction from the RailCats family, this guy is blowing smoke out of his ass. Okay, that's from what I am getting. This guy is blowing smoke out of everyone's ass, and I'm sorry for the foul language, but I'm a little bit passionate about this. Okay, because this brings a lot of different change to the RailCats potentially. You know, and I think it's for the good. From what I'm getting, it just doesn't seem that the Slavi family really gave a rat's ass about the RailCats, and they bought the team, money grab for 15 years, and it is what it is. And you know, I kind of attribute it to, you know, even from last year to this year. The big thing was last year they had the RailCats beer with Off Square, and it seemed like that fell through as a mutual agreement, just kind of part way. No one really liked the beer. Instead of, I don't know, maybe trying to make it work, and maybe not so much like a craft beer, more like a, you know, it could have been like a lager or a Pinsler, or, you know, however you want to put it. It could have been something different that people might have enjoyed a little bit better, not so much of a craft fruity taste, which I actually really liked the beer. I'm not a craft guy, and I really liked it. But I'm just saying, those kind of, like, trying to keep that established. You know, you built this new little bar area for it. You had your own beer. You did all that good stuff, and then you just kind of let it piss away. You know, it just doesn't seem like the ownership really cared, you know, what was going on, and it doesn't seem like they do care. So, and I think, you know, it's just one of those things that to keep the game going, to keep the RailCats in Gary, you have to keep those kind of procedures, or kind of keep those kind of partnerships. Yeah, you know, you have 18th Street Brewery, but to have another brewery there would have been really, you know, was really nice, especially with it being more towards Crown Point, a big hub there. You know, advertise it more to get some more people out there. 18th Street Brewery is in Hammond. It's right there by the RailCats, basically. Not always the best area. I've been there once. The food's great. The food's awesome. Beer's good. The atmosphere is awesome, but it's not family friendly. Like, you went there, the loud music, you know, it's not family friendly. It's family friendly to a certain extent. Off Square is more of your kind of your local brewery. And I know I'm kind of going off a little tangent here. That happens from time to time, but I'm just saying this is new things that maybe Joseph can get a part of. Joe can drive something here. Maybe he's going to be all in. Maybe we're going to see him walk around the ballpark. Maybe I will actually be able to know who runs the organization. Maybe I can look at the owner and ask him questions. That would be great. The fans deserve, and listen, this isn't an MLB team, right? You know, the Ricketts family, the Reinsdorf family, they don't have to answer the fans, right? They don't have to answer anyone. I'm not saying that an owner of the RailCats should answer to fans in general, but the whole thing that drives people to the ballpark, or what keeps the ballpark going, is the fans. And if you're out there every day or once a week or whatever the case may be, because you probably have a busy life. I mean, Joseph, just looking at his resume here, all right, he is an experienced technology executive, currently a member of the executive team in Bill Trust. Where his responsibilities for product and technology for the business. He had similar roles at TravelClick, a travel hospitality data and software provider, JetBlue Airways, and Swift, the worldwide messaging network for the financial industry. Now you have connections, those kind of connections. Just imagine. He's not there, but just imagine, you know what? Maybe I had such a good relationship with JetBlue Airways. I think that's more of a Canadian flight, kind of a Canadian airline, I believe. Free flights to Winnipeg. Don't have to drive a bus. Or, you know what? You got the Gary International, or the Gary Airport right there. Maybe the guy has enough money that, you know what? Doesn't mean he's going to spend it on them, but it could be. RailCats charter flight down to Cleburne. No, these are big, crazy ideas. Big, crazy ideas. Huge, crazy ideas. I'm not saying that's going to happen. You know, you got the contract with the Miller Transportation, the bus company that takes the RailCats where they go. But I'm just saying, this is something that, if it works, is something that is positive for the RailCats organization. I'm not concerned about anything else except what this owner is going to do for the RailCats. What can he do? What can he provide for the RailCats? What can he provide the fans? We need an owner that, one, is present, that can walk around the ballpark and see what's going on. Right? As much as this may suck, and as much as I'm going to say this, the more games I've gone to this year and the more I've sit down at first base side of the field, they really maybe need to start thinking about putting fencing up all the way to protect that berm, because there's been multiple, I can count on almost two hands, where a child under the age of 3 is not paying attention. No. Let me finish before I get into my next portion of that. Isn't paying attention, inches away from getting drilled in the face with the ball. All right. Should the parents be more responsible for their children? Yes. By far means yes. My wife has looked at me many times and she said, when we have a child and we go to the games, they're not playing catch in the berm. It's just not happening. Right? I think berm is a great experience. I love it. Absolutely love it. But there has to be protection for for fans, at least, over there. The prime example is when I went to Four Winds Field there for the South Bend Cubs game. They had a little like splash pad, but they had a big fence, kind of the netting there to prevent people from getting hit. Right? Now I haven't been to a game where I've seen a kid get drilled, and I don't think that's happened, and it doesn't happen often. But I'm just saying, I think it's just one of those things that the owner may need to look into. Okay, I think there's a couple renovations I still think that needs to be done a little bit. I think potentially, I don't know who owns the Righteous Ribs building or whatever the case may be, but maybe just buy that section out and have your own restaurant kind of thing there, or whatever the case may be. There's plenty of things to do at this ballpark. There's a lot of things that you can do, that you can renovate, whatever the case may be. Now, some of my concerns is, ultimately, when you break things down, this is a business. This baseball team is a business. And I don't know if this business is making money. Now, I don't know if Patrick and Linda decided that they're just done with the organization, they don't want anything to do with it, and they really haven't lost or gained anything. And, they owning 2 different teams, whatever the case may be, whatever their baby is, and move on. As me, if I was a business owner, I want 2 things. I want to make money, and I want to win championships, right? And the team this year is a positive outlook to what we're getting, right? But I'm sadly seeing a decline in attendance. And that could be an issue. Because the attendance has nothing to do with how late games are going, how quickly games are getting over with, or how late games start. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with that at all. It's the area and the location that we're in. What are some other things, what are other ways to make money? Well, what is big attraction to most fans in that community is that it's free parking. Are they going to start charging for parking? And you have to look at the demographic, right? You have to look at the income of what the RailCats have. Looking around other price parks or price points of different locations, The Gary South Shore RailCats are probably one of the cheapest tickets to get into. All right, $10 general admission, $14 reserve seats. Right, I looked at, I think, King County Milkmen, 16 for reserve seat, $13 for general admission. That kind of stuff. What different kind of changes are they going to bring to this? What kind of changes is Joseph going to bring to this team? I hope they're good. I hope they're productive, right? If you're going to charge me $5 to park, but you're going to offer me $100 parking pass, sure, I'll buy the $100 parking pass. If you're going to now charge me, instead of the $225 or $250 I pay for season passes for 5 tickets, up to $300, that's doable. We've already made our money back, right? I've already made my money back on that. I've gone to almost every home game basically, and I've brought me, my wife, my parents. We've basically made our money back on that. So that's not a huge deal, right? If you're gonna bump it up a little bit, but you can't exceed it so much to where you're not going to be getting anyone into the ballpark. You're just not gonna. I think the big thing is getting different partners, bringing in different partners to get sponsorships, to bring in different things to the ballpark. I think that, if Joseph comes to the ballpark and he has anything to say about anyone or whatever the case may be, wants to know what the fans are, I think the fan experience could be a little bit better. But I really think on the flip side of it, it's not so much what's at home, but what's on the road, what's away, what's out. When they're gone, what can you bring to us, right? What can you outside of listening to the radio or AATV or whatever, what can you bring? Big thing is like Twitter and Facebook and all that. You look at most other teams, they are the American Association is retweeting other teams when they release or sign other people. Mostly sign, but not so much release, but when they sign. And sometimes the Gary South Shore RailCats, they don't do that right away. They take a couple days before that comes around. I just think that if you want to grow the game, if you want to get people to the ballpark, get out there. But then, so the looking more into Joseph here, Joe has this is all from the RailCats page. Anthony wrote this out. Giomano, I can't pronounce his name to save my freaking life, but that's beside the point. What I'm getting at is, he also puts in here, has a passion for sports and baseball that goes back to his childhood. His experiences with creating great, unique, and long-lasting customer experiences like the award-winning JFK Terminal 5 and with the leading progressive hotel brands will contribute to continuing a great fan and community experience with the RailCats. That is what I like to hear. Great, long-lasting, creating great, unique, long-lasting customer experiences. That's all I need. If you're going to tell me that I'm going to get a great experience coming to this game, you're going to bring so many people into the ballpark. No matter how good or bad the team may or may not be, you're going to bring people into the ballpark. Now, a couple quotes here from Joe. The RailCats are a great fixture in downtown Gary, and a large part of the Northwest Indiana summer entertainment. I could not be more excited. Also goes on to say, I'm very appreciative of the stewardship of Pat and Linda Salvi during their 15 years of ownership. I look forward to building upon their legacy and continuing to grow the impact of RailCats baseball throughout Northwest Indiana. I am excited to work with our stellar partners, fans, and players through the 2023 season and beyond. We are in a competitive field. because Lake County has the Corn Dogs. Now that's collegiate league. A little bit different, still baseball, right? Some people still want to watch baseball for cheap or whatever the case, we just want to go watch baseball. That's in Crown Point. How are you going to draw people away from that, right? You got the Oilmen and Whiting there. How are you going to draw people from them to come to the RailCats games? They're talking about putting a collegiate team in LaPorte. How are you going to bring people from over there back? You know, you're going to split. This is a competitive field. You have Chicago, right? Now that's in Rosemont. That's pretty far away for most people. For me, it's an hour and a half drive. But I'm just saying what is going to bring people to the ballpark? And that is the biggest question that if I run into Joseph Eng, is that I want to ask him, what are you going to do to bring people to the ballpark? That's all I need to know. The RailCats deserve the fans that they have. The fans deserve a RailCats ownership team that is going to give them blood, sweat, and tears. That's what they want. Blood, sweat, and tears. Because all the people that have followed this podcast that I see at the ballpark absolutely love the RailCats. There is no doubt in my mind. Now, I haven't been to other ballparks, and maybe Shy Dog Fool has me beat on this. But I see more dedicated fans at the RailCats games than I would say that I see at any other ballpark, right? You know, Shy Fool Dog, or Shy Dog Fool, number one Chicago Dogs fans in the world, hands down. I haven't been to a game yet, hoping to get to a game. Hopefully meet him. Seems like a great guy. I'm so disappointed I missed out on doing an interview with him. To my arrogance of not checking my emails. But that's for another day. I'm just saying, you know, just the people, you know, you have your own rowdy cowboy, or cowbell group, right? That goes to every game. You guys are awesome. I love talking with you guys. Chuck, down there being a host family member. He has his own host family tickets, but he still gets family season passes, right? That's the love of the RailCats. I see people there. I see the same people when I go. I love the interaction. The fan base deserves a new owner that's going to give a damn, right? And that's what we're hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. Now, I know this podcast will probably come out right before the game starts, and not much people are going to listen to it. It might be minute at this point. But the point behind this is that this ownership, this team deserves an ownership that gives a shit, right? I'm sorry. I know I'm using language that I don't normally use, but it's very important that I try to get my point across, that the fans get their point across, that I'm serious about this podcast, that I'm hoping something serious happens where we get a great fan experience every time we come to the ballpark. And I'm not saying what is going on right now isn't great, isn't fun. I have fun. I love it. I love going to the games. Chicken dance, heck of a time. 7th inning stretch, heck of a time, right? Tennis ball talk, have a time. Fireworks, outstanding. Love them. Promotions, good, great. But I just want to see more fans. I want to see more fans at the stadium. I don't want to be having tickets that I buy that are all the way up top at 114 and I can sit down at 114 A17 through, no one's there, right? I want to be able to get to the game. I want to be worried about, I got to get to the game before everyone else does because I might not get this giveaway, right? That's what I want to concern about. Right? I want that concern. I want that excitement. I want that joy. Give me a reason to be at the ballpark early so I can walk in and have to wait maybe 5-10 minutes to get a beer. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't think that most American Association or independent ball teams are like that. But I'm just saying I want a little bit more. I think we just all want a little bit more excitement. Now, Mayor Jerome Prince did comment. He said, today's marks an exciting new chapter for the city of Gary as we welcome the new ownership of the RailCats. Also goes on to say, we have an immense appreciation for Pat and Linda Salvi as their leadership was instrumental in creating a foundation for vibrant sport culture in our downtown area. As a baton is passed on to Mr. Joseph Eng, it's my belief that the further elevation of the RailCats legacy and pave the way for the remarkable growth and success. See what happens. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If not, you should, at least. You should. Hopefully the new ownership rocks on. That's all we're asking for, right? So hopefully tonight we can even up the series, get the Milkmen, move on, have a good time. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Kyle. Make sure to follow the podcast at RailCats Talk on Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that other good stuff. Yeah. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.